Hello everyone, welcome. We're going to do our pre-release recap here today, and this is just before draft weekend starts, so good luck out there drafting this weekend, and let's get going on this. So, I ended up going 2-1 in the pre-release, getting 2 packs for my wins. I lost my first round to my brother-in-law, Matt. So Matt, if you're watching, good games, mate. And let's crack one of these packs open. Let's go ladies first. All right. Gonna kind of go through the comments real quick. Oh, cool. I think this is a cool card. I've been wanting to try and play with it, but haven't found a good home for it yet. Then we have Overcome, Rule of Law, and Chandra. Cool. Then, man, these full art tokens are so awesome, aren't they? Love it. Cool. So Chandra, not bad. Not bad first pack. And we'll do the second pack at the end. Alright, so this was my pool of cards that I played with, and overall was pretty happy with it. I'll talk a little bit about how everything played out, what I changed, and we'll do sideboard after this. So, starting off, this is great little 1-drop, Death Touch Lifelink, nothing to really say there. Manifold Key, it's not great, but in sealed, like you can give a creature unblockable, so that's really nice, and it actually comboed with Mystic Forge, which I'll get to in a second. Mo Piranhas was great for just setting up an early blocker. We had Anticipate and Blade Brand. And then the 3-drop slot, I actually didn't start with any Convolutes, but added them in. I have one other one in the sideboard. Just ended up being a nice 3-drop to counter their 3 or 4-drop. Got lucky and pulled Rotting Regisaur, so this was just a beater. This won me one of my games, which then ended up winning me the round. Diamond Knight was not a bad little filler card. Ended up getting up to like a 2-2 or 3-3 some games, so it wasn't bad. Frost Links, of course, is very good. Winged Words, card draw, great, and I ended up having some decent flyers. Got 2 murders, which of course were fabulous. My opponent played that huge like 7/7 for 6, then I just murdered it, and it's like, yep, that's why it's a good card. And then this card, also really nice. And for 4s, I had a Gravedigger, Classic, and I also managed to pull another black rare, Dread Presence, so that was also great. This was the reason why I ended up running 8 swamps and 7 islands, even though I think my mana symbols were skewed a little bit more on the blue side. I had 2 Dimsel Backwaters, so my fixing was pretty good anyways, and I wanted to play more swamps so I could get the trigger off of Dread Presence. Mystic Forge, we'll talk about in a second. Fathom Fleet Cutthroat was really just more of a curve filler. I needed, some sort of creature up there. And then Octoprophet, of course, really nice body, really nice ability, so that was great. So Mystic Forge doesn't look that great. Okay, you may look at the top card of your library. You can cast it if it's an artifact or a colorless non-land card. The only one that counts is Manifold Key, so that kind of just doesn't work with the deck. But then you can pay 1 life and exile the top card of your library. And you have to tap it. So we'll get to this in a second. Doesn't seem very good, but ended up being great in this deck. 2 Boreal Elementals, of course, really nice. 1 Air Elemental. Got to cast my Winged Words for a discount a couple times, which was nice. A Feral Abomination, which is just a big creature that's hard to deal with. And then Scholar of the Ages. So also didn't start with this in my deck in round 1, and then put it in for round 2 and 3. So let's talk about those changes. Mystic Forge also didn't start my deck because looking at it, it didn't seem that great. But then I put it in, and being able to just know what the top card of your library is actually really useful. If I was trying to get lands for one of my bigger plays, or needed to find lands, I could just tap it and exile the top card of my library, and there you go. I think the general rule of thumb is one card is worth 4 life. So digging 1 or 2 cards deep, because it combos with Manifold Key, right? Digging 1 or 2 cards deep for 2 life just to set up your next draw really is pretty good. There were multiple times where I had both of these out on the battlefield, and it was like late in the game. I knew the top card in my library was a land, so I tapped Mystic Forge and exiled it, and then untapped it again with Manifold Key and exiled the next card, which was also a land, and then drew into one of my big flyers, which then helped me win the game. So it really helped me draw into some gas for the late game, and I was really quite impressed with it. I was also really impressed with this card. Not at first, because it's like, wow, a 3/3 for 7 mana that returns 2 instant or sorcery cards. Like, I don't really have that many instant or sorcery cards, but there was one time where I cast that and returned 2 murders from my graveyard to my hand. Like, that's insane. That meant then I was able to kill 2 more of their creatures, right? 4 kill spells in a game. Man, it's hard to come back from. So those were the changes. I was pretty happy with them. And we'll go on to sideboarding now. Another Fathom Fleet Cutthroat, which just wasn't good enough to make the cut for a second one in the deck. Another Convolute, which I brought in if they really seemed like a tap-out deck and had some really powerful stuff that I need to counter. Zephyr Charge, in case they had a lot of flyers I had to deal with. This also really performed well for me on Arena, but it really performed great in my Elementals deck, which didn't have very many flyers, and so I could just take my big beefy ground creatures and slam in for the win. I had 2 Undead Servants, which I feel like I at least need 3 to be happy running these in my deck. I ran them in my deck in the first round and got some value out of them, but 4 mana for a 3/2 just didn't work most of the time, and so that's why I switched out for the Fathom Fleet Cutthroat. Befuddle helped to slow the game down a little bit and draw a card, since I had a lot of kind of big flyers that I wanted to get to and not much in the early game. That's when I brought that in. And lastly, I pulled this Leyline of Anticipation. Never ended up playing it though, because my deck just didn't really need it. I played against a guy in my last round who had it, and while he could do some cool stuff like flashing in creatures at the end of my turn and all this, it actually didn't make that much of an impact, and I was still able to win the game. So that was just a quick recap of what I played at pre-release. Let me know how you did, what you played, what you thought of the deck, and we'll go ahead and crack the second pack now. Come on. Okay, going to go through the commons again, kind of quick. All right, and then here's our uncommons. I like this guy. And Drawn from Dreams. That's our rare. The nice wolf token. This rare, I feel like, could be really busted, but the fact that sorcery speed is currently holding it back. So hopefully someone finds a way to break it. All right, well, that's everything for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. All right, little bit of bonus time here. We're gonna see if I got a good Gideon card from the Gideon Spellbook. I went ahead and bought one at pre-release. We'll see if we can get something from it here. So I think the cards that we want are Rest in Peace and Path to Exile. Oh, geez. Here we go. Ooh, let's see what it says. Man, you can't even read it. The glare so bad. So it says, when the fight seems hopeless, fight harder. Okay, thanks, Gideon. Quite a bunch of packaging for a small pack of cards. Well, let's see what we get. All right, we got it. Man, did anyone else have that hard of a time opening a pack? Because that was kind of crazy. Alright, so. Alright, there it is. Shielded by Faith. So, not the greatest pull in the world, but still decent. And I actually use this in my Daxos deck. The one that cares about enchantments. This helps keep him protected and can shift around the battlefield. So, that commander deck will appreciate the addition. And then, yeah, we just have all the other cards. So, very good. Alright, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.